Hey everybody, welcome back to our movie review. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. Excuse me, my throat's a little dry. It's just, I haven't drank a lot of water today and just a long day. So excuse me if I seem a little just out of it. Went to see a movie today and I was curious about this based on a trailer that I saw when I went to see Memoria. So found that it was playing here near my house and figured to check it out. So the film we're going to be discussing today is a film called Ghostlight, which, forgive me, I do not know who wrote it or directed it, just forgot the names. Cannot even tell you who the names of the stars are either. They're not familiar faces to me. So all I'm going to tell you is just what it's about. What we are introduced to is a family of three, a mother, father, and a daughter, 15-year-old daughter, and all of them seem to be having personal issues individually. You know, the daughter, she is just a insufferable character. You know, her personality is that of just energy and pretty just narcissistic in behavior. You know, she just kind of just does whatever she pleases. She has no regard for anybody's feelings. And the mother is just kind of just trying to keep the pieces together, while the father is very, as the film kind of clues us in later on, is rather distant from everybody else. And we've centralized ourselves with the father as he is in the middle of a lawsuit, which we find out has a connection to the family in a much very deep capacity, without spoiling anything. But and he, in a quite explosive manner, we shall say, finds himself in the presence of theater, the acting stage of things, finds himself with a group of people similar to his age, and they're getting ready to do a stage play of Romeo and Juliet. He gets himself integrated into this group and learns the value of community, and within that, potentially within the art of acting itself, a path towards forgiveness and a path towards understanding his grief and perhaps developing more of a sympathy and more of an understanding, and not being as sheltered or as closed-minded as he has been through a very traumatic incident that has happened within the family. So, and potentially bringing the family together in some regard. So like I said, I saw a trailer for it at my screening to Memoria, and I was interested mainly by the performances. And to say up front, the performances are great. I think all of them are very great, especially the little girl. I think she is very special, really genuine talent. I have a suspicion that she's probably a theater kid, mainly by just how she is projecting. She just has that manner of a theater kid, so I'm assuming that she's a theater kid. But it's not to denigrate, I think that's the word. It's not to diminish that performance. It's just to say that I could read potentially where her acting background comes from. But yeah, I really love this trio. I think that their performances are very strong, very authentic, and very powerful, I must say. Especially at key moments in the film, specifically with the father. There are times when there are no lines given, and it's all to do with his expressions, and it's very subtle, and the weight is felt tremendously, which is another thing to say about the film as well, is that there is a weight to this. It is dense, and you feel it to your core. And there are times in this where I did cry, and a lot of that has to do with just the craftsmanship, a lot about how it is providing us information of the circumstances, just giving us little details here and there, and then it builds throughout the course of the film, rather than supplying it to us very early on, and then we have to go through the duration of the runtime. You know, it's good that they space it out, because it builds drama, it builds intrigue, and it builds emotion. And there are points in the film, especially when as I said, there's a lawsuit that's happening. When we get to the point of when that lawsuit takes place, it just becomes very powerful, and a lot of the circumstance starts to fall in place. And at that point also there is ties to the theater, which, you know, the whole point of what they're doing is to showcase reality and then that of the theater, and how these two intertwine. And I feel as though that I feel as though that the connections, the binding of that on an emotional sense, I feel is um, a bit on the nose, a bit just frankly literal, in that what is Romeo and Juliet being a tragedy, when you understand the situation the family has, it just, there comes a point when it's just like, okay, yeah, it's pretty much the same exact thing. And I feel as though that it's kind of a little bit diminished in that regard, because it's just basically literally the same situations being played out, in that of the stage play, and in what is happening in real life, or what has fallen upon this family in terms of their trauma. I just It's just too close. A little bit more distance, I felt, would have helped strengthen that emotion much more. And um and I just really like the ending, which should be a very powerful scene, and it is powerful, and mainly to do with what is happening outside the stage. Because the key thing that I take issue with this film is a lot to do with how it presents theater, and I think that the idea of theater, I think, is always troubling for me, because I don't find it to be a therapy tool. I don't think of it as a place to be vulnerable, a place to be expressive. I think that what it is quite literally, like, as the whole, the gimmick of theater, like that whole mask thing that they always have is like their poster or whatever, their little logo. That is what it is. It is putting on the face of a character, but it is using your emotions, your personal, things, and projecting onto that character. And at some one point, the main character says, romanticizing a situation, and not properly wrestling with it, not properly dealing with it. I detest the idea of the theater, really. I don't like what the theater offers in an emotional regard. I don't like what acting in general does in an emotional regard. That's why I don't do acting anymore, because it's just, I hate what I'm putting out there emotionally. Like, I just don't like that. And I don't like that I have to basically project onto a character, or have to insert my own business, my own personal issues onto a character in order to sustain it or to give it life and to frankly make a good performance, And that's what they showcase in the film also, is about how in the art of theater that they want you to get the real honest emotions, but they don't want, like, it's very deceptive in how they present it to you, because it's like they want you to have raw, honest emotion, but at the same time they don't want you to tap into something like, it's just like, just say that you want to twist my emotions, just say that, and then we'll be on, it'll be much more apparent as to what's going on, because it's just basically using your emotions and projecting them onto a character, and in turn, because it's always what I've said, the more personal something is, the better it is in performance, and that's always what it's going to be. Because if you're just going to be you, it's not going to work. You have to always put yourself into that character. And people will say, well, that's not always true. It is exactly how it is. And I can't reach my light. And it's just the principle of acting. I don't think, generally speaking, that it is a therapy tool. So but removing my personal opinions on theater, I think that the craftsmanship, generally speaking, is very solid. I think that the performances work really well. I think there's genuine emotion there. Again, I cried a few times watching this, because of just how it is built throughout the film, and the supplying of information, I think, works very well to its benefit. How it just gives us little details here and there, basically just us living with those characters, and not necessarily the characters telling us what is going on, them going through their lives and who they bump into and such and such. And while there is some conveniences, like I said, a lot to do with how they connect the play to the situation with the family, I feel it is quite convenient in just the connections. It's quite literal. It's not similarities, it's just strikingly, just one and the same. And I feel that that's a bit of an issue in terms of just just in terms of just the progression. I would have liked if things were a little bit more separate in that regard, a little more spaced out. But outside of those conveniences, though, it is still quite quite a joyful, like there's a joyful nature to the film. There's it's a very light, experience. I mean, there is weight. It does know when to get heavy, but a lot of times it's very light. It's very just very charming and very heartfelt. And I definitely was involved in it. I was invested. I caught myself at one point being very invested into it. So while I do take issue with some of the principles of how they portray the theater and the acting and the message of what that community is, while I take issue with that and how it generally helps that character, I take issue with. And narratively speaking, there being conveniences in terms of how it connects these two things together, the family and the theater, and how they marry these two together. I think it's just too close together. I think you have performances that are very solid. I think the progression is just really, really heartfelt and really engaging. I think that there's genuine emotion there. It's a very, very good piece, and I think that it's just a very, just, like, how do I put it? Like, it's very honest, strangely very honest, and yet it's honest within the skies of acting, and the whole point of acting is to be something that you're not, but the true art of acting is also to be honest, and frankly, in some regard, that's what the film is also about, is about letting yourself be honest with yourself, but I just disagree with how they choose to represent that message through the manner of theater, because I feel it's a bit counterproductive. It's a mental leap, a huge mental leap that I just feel like nobody can actually achieve. So, in having to play a character but not allow yourself to insert your own feelings onto that character, I just feel like that's not possible. But yeah, I'm getting a little off topic. But yeah, I really did enjoy it. I just take issue with just how they portray the theater and what it actually means for those characters and how it actually benefits those characters. But yeah, very solid piece, very solid emotionally speaking, very solid performances, just generally really solid. So yeah, so those are my thoughts on Ghostlight. I really liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I think that especially that girl, I think she's really, really good. She definitely plays annoying really, really well. It's intended, and it's really, really good. So little film. I hope you guys maybe check it out. There's like barely anybody in my theater, so if you guys did check it out, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have these directors done anything in the past? I feel like this is their directorial debut, potentially. I don't know. Or these actors, too. I would like to see more of these actors and other things. Especially that little girl. I don't know if she's been in anything else. And the father, too. The father, too, is pretty good. But you guys know your thoughts on Ghostlight in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm going to drink some water now because I'm a little dehydrated, if you haven't noticed. So, little just out of it. So. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.